3 years, 1 GitHub repo, 0 AI experience. That's where this story starts. From copying code out of a chat window to 460 commits in 2 months with Cursor, to building teams of AI agents that write their own code, send their own emails, and produce their own videos. This is how AI changed the way I build. This is my AI journey. I'm Nick DeMarco, I'm 61 years old, and I've spent my entire career in the electronics industry. Electrical engineering degree from Northeastern. First job building real-time systems at Concurrent Computer. Then 27 years at Mentor Graphics deploying PCB data management at some of the biggest companies in the world. Teamcenter Integrations, Siemens NX, the Expedition PCB toolset. Complex enterprise software that touched every level of a client's engineering organization. Then Altium, where I helped build my Altium, a prescriptive client engagement process that grew to over 20% of the company's revenue. 5 years, a world-class team, a scalable approach. I called it my dream job. But then leadership changed, the strategy shifted, and it was time to move on. July 2023, career break. After 35 years of deploying other people's software, I was home, and for the first time in my life, I had time. But here's the thing, I was never a software developer, not professionally. I was a solutions architect, a deployment lead, a technical consultant. I understood systems, but building software from scratch, that was always someone else's job. Years earlier in 2017, I'd had this idea for a live streaming platform called Vister, bought the domain, created a GitHub repo, started writing some code, and then life happened. The repo sat untouched for years. I had notebooks full of ideas, apps I wanted to build, problems I wanted to solve, but the gap between knowing what something should do and actually building it, it was always too wide. Between the day job and the learning curve, most of those ideas stayed right there, in notebooks. Then November 30th, 2022 happened. OpenAI released ChatGPT. I typed my first prompt, and for the first time in 35 years of working with technology, the wall just disappeared, and I thought, maybe I can actually build the things I've been imagining. Everything was about to change. The first thing I did with ChatGPT was ask it a dumb question. The second thing I did was ask it to write code. And here I was, a 58-year-old engineer with 3 decades of deploying other people's software, asking an AI how to build a Django app. First year was a love affair with a chat window. I asked it everything. How to write a Docker file, how to set up Firebase Auth, how to structure an API. It answered well. I was generating more ideas in a week than I'd had in a year. But here's what AI-assisted coding actually looked like in 2023. You open ChatGPT, you describe what you want, it gives you code, you copy it, you paste it into your editor, it doesn't work. You copy the error, go back to ChatGPT, paste it in, it gives you a fix, you paste that. Sometimes you're 3 rounds deep in a copy-paste loop and you've completely lost the thread. I was treating AI like a faster Stack Overflow, and it was, but the workflow was brutal. Then in June 2024, I published my first real AI project, pdfScribe, PDF transcription using OpenAI's Vision API. 7 commits in 11 days. The code was rough, but it worked. For the first time, I'd actually shipped something. A month later, I got ambitious. D3 Marco, a full Django platform with pdfScribe as a plugin, Docker, Google Cloud, user authentication, document management, 105 commits in 3 months. More code than I'd written in the previous 5 years combined. By late 2024, I had more code on GitHub than the previous 7 years combined, but I was still doing it the hard way. Then in my pdfScribe repo, there's a commit that reads, test commit from Cursor. I'd found something new, and I didn't know yet how much it would change. February 2025, I opened Cursor for the first time, not a browser tab with a chatbot, an editor with AI built in, no more copy-paste, no more context switching. You write, the AI writes alongside you, and the conversation happens where the code lives. That friction I'd been fighting for a year, gone overnight. 252 commits in February, 208 more in March. My busiest month in 2024 had been 56. But the commits were only half the story. The first thing I did in Cursor was create a .cursorrules file, not code, instructions, a YAML configuration that described my entire project. React and TypeScript frontend, Flask backend, Google Cloud SQL, Firebase Auth, every convention, every file path, every deployment command. I was writing specifications, the same thing I'd been doing my entire career. I just didn't know it was about to become the most important skill in software. PDF to website was the proof. 460 commits across 3 related repos. A full-stack PDF transcription platform with user auth, cloud storage, AI processing, temporary hosting, paid tiers, and a management dashboard. Built in 2 months. That's not AI helping me code. That's me designing a product and AI building it. Then the PRDS started. product requirements documents, full specifications before a single line of code existed, who the app is for, what it does, how it's built, front to back. I'd done this 1,000 times at Mentor Graphics and Altium, writing deployment plans, SOS technical specs. Turns out those skills translate directly, and in April I built a meeting recording app and bragged about it right in the README. Vibe coded from idea to app in 2 hours. The shift was complete. I'd gone from AI helps me code to I design, AI builds, and once you make that shift, you can't go back, because you realize I was never supposed to be the one typing. I was supposed to be the one thinking. And when you realize you can build anything, you start dreaming a whole lot bigger. Summer 2025, I named 3 projects in a row with Vibe in the title. VibeText, an app that transforms your writing into the voice and tone of any audience. VibeKit, a platform that generates entire applications from specifications. And VibeShell, quote, your next computer OS, a Mac OS terminal that replaces the command prompt with conversational AI, voice input. Multi-modal support, the whole thing. And there was Vister Stream. Remember Vister, the streaming platform I dreamed up in 2017? It came back, 291 commits. A local streaming appliance that connects cameras on the network, overlays live weather and tide data, and broadcasts 24/7 to YouTube. Real engineering, hardware and software together. The kind of project that would have taken me a year before AI. It took weeks. And the PRDS evolved. Compare my early pdfScribe PRD, a traditional SaaS product spec, user stories, monetization, to the VibeShell PRD, persona tables, multi-model brain architecture. Contextual memory, intent parsing with safety confirmations. It reads less like a product spec and more like a system design document. I wasn't just specifying apps anymore. I was designing products. The same way I used to design enterprise deployments at Altium, complete architectures, end to end. And here's the thing I didn't appreciate at the time. VibeShell, the AI-powered terminal I designed, was essentially a description of the tool I'd start using a month later. I was designing my own future and didn't even know it. By November, I had 15 projects on GitHub. I was building apps in days that used to take months, but I was about to discover that the most powerful interface isn't the fanciest one, it's the one you already know. December 2025, I'm building a Christmas present. My dad, Nick DeMarco Sr., coded a bingo game on a DOS machine back in the 1980s. He recorded himself calling every number, B7, I-22. 075, those WAV files survived 40 years. Pop didn't. He passed away before Christmas 2025, so I built Pop's Bingo, an app that plays his voice when you call bingo numbers. Simple HTML, CSS, JavaScript, 75 WAV files, nothing fancy, but it preserves his voice for every family Christmas Eve from now on. I built it with Claude code, not cursor, back in the terminal, and something clicked. I wrote a Claude MD file, same concept as .cursor rules, but for Claude, project context, architecture, key files. But I added something I'd never put in a configuration file before, the family story, who Pop was, who Mom Marge is, why this matters, and the AI understood, not just the code, the purpose. Then came Chat Codex, the most self-aware project I'd built yet, and I quote the README, a codex-built codex app. We used AI to build an app that helps you use AI better. Meta, yes. Useful, also yes. I was using the tools to improve the tools. The snake was starting to eat its tail. In Claude Agents, 28 commits in 1 week, 86% co-authored by Claude, a web-based orchestrator for managing AI agents. Each agent defined by a skillmd file, its behavioral instructions, and a config.json, its configuration. You describe what you want in natural language, even by voice, and the AI generates the complete agent. The pattern was crystallizing, not individual prompts, not individual apps, agents defined by skills, configured by files, orchestrated by a manager, like deploying an enterprise system, except the system deploys itself. I had agents, I had a pattern, I had a vision. What I didn't have yet was a system. I needed a way to bring it all together. January 19, 2026, Sunday afternoon, 1 commit, 1 message, initial commit, agent architect framework, co-authored by Claude Opus 4.5. 3 weeks later, I had 36 agents organized into 4 teams, a RAG database with 110 governing documents, 6 MCP server integrations connecting agents to Gmail, Google Drive, Chrome, and more. Every single commit co-authored by Claude, not some of them, all of them. These aren't DMOS. The Wharfside Board Assistant team manages real documents for my condo association. The monthly bulletin agent mines Gmail for community updates and produces an HTML newsletter that gets emailed to homeowners. The archivist searches a vector database of governing documents when board members have questions. The proposal review agent analyzes vendor bids. The Altium Solutions team 15 agents for end-to-end customer workflows, built from my own domain expertise after 5 years at Altium. And then there's Max, my personal AI assistant. He remembers every research task, every note persists. He checks his memory before doing new work. He manages my email, my tasks, my Google Drive. I didn't build an app. I built an employee, one who never forgets and never sleeps. And then I asked Max to help me plan a YouTube series about my AI journey. He searched through 3 years of Git history, analyzed 35 repos, read every .cursor rules file, every Claude MD, every PRD. Built a timeline, wrote the narrative, an AI agent documenting the story of how AI agents were built. Think about that for a second. Evolution wasn't just about tools getting better. It was about me discovering that I'd been training for this my entire career. Stage 1, prompts. You're thinking like a developer, just asking someone else to type. Stage 2. Specifications. You're thinking like a solutions architect. The .cursor rules files, the PRDS, they're the technical specs I'd been writing for 35 years. Stage 3. Agents. You're thinking like an enterprise deployment lead. You're designing organizations, defining roles, assigning tools, setting up collaboration. Exactly what I did at Mentor Graphics and Altium for 3 decades. 35 years of enterprise systems thinking turned out to be exactly the right background for the AI era. I'm not a software developer. I never was, but it turns out that's not what you need to be anymore. 3 years ago, I was a 59-year-old solutions architect on a career break, with one dormant repo on GitHub and notebooks full of ideas I couldn't build. Today, I have 35 repos and 36 AI agents organized into teams. The question isn't, can you code? The question is, what do you want to build?